Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Spa Talk with Dr. Watson. We have a special guest. This is our second episode. We are so happy that you're tuned in today. We have the District Attorney, Dalia Racine. Right?
Hey,
I
yeah,
said
you
it
got
correctly.
it. You got it.
I know Dalia, but people be messing up your last name, so we got to get it together. So we welcome you today to our Spa Talk. And she is the district attorney of Douglas County. If you guys were worrying, we're like very important because we have her because we're special. So before we get started, she's gonna drink water because y'all, she gotta go work. But y'all know how to do it. She's showing you her work, so y'all don't be reporting her. So we're gonna do some champagne, right?
Toast.
All right. Before we start, we have to cheers.
Cheers.
Boom.
Dink.
All right, to get rid of the fuzzies and the nervousness. Here, so we're gonna jump right into it. How are you doing today?
I'm good, girls. Good to see you. Thank you for having me. This is amazing. Congratulations to you on all of your success and all of the wonderful contributions that you make to our community. I want to start off by saying that.
I'm supposed to be bigging you up. You're not supposed to. No. Y'all, me and Dalia have known each other for a long time. I want to say about 10 years. About 10 years. Yeah. I moved here about 10 years ago. And then maybe 6 or 7 months after that, I got involved in the community. And I actually probably met you at like a health fair or some sort of fair. And we introduced, or public officials introduced us. And then we found out that we're sorority sisters.
Yeah, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Period.
We do exist.
We do. And we're successful and we're beautiful and we are here to show up and show out, right?
Amen.
All right, Marika, what are you doing today?
I am doing a 30-minute pedicure, gel pedicure on the lovely district.
And she's doing a great job. She's already got started and things are going well.
Yes.
And let me just say this plug. I did not know this was here. Folks need to check this out. This place is beautiful. People need to come through. She is doing, like, she is handling the business. We agreed we would not show my feet. But she is doing big work over here.
By the way. She's like perfect, like from head to toe, y'all.
Stop.
She's smart, she's gorgeous, and she gets down when she needs to. So we're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for gracing. I love her. She's not much older than me, I don't think, but she's like
significantly though. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, because we don't tell our age. But when I first came to Douglas County and I went to a couple of chapter meetings, she definitely took me under her wings, and I love her for that.
Likewise.
I mean, we would kick each other under the table.
Y'all know how chapter meetings go.
And we will always be on the same page. So she is a woman of excellence. I think she pledged at UF, right?
I did, University of Florida. We will not talk about our football season because it is a very sore spot right now. But yes, still a proud Gator alum.
UCF can't talk that much. I mean, the Knights, they're like, where is that? But everybody knows UF. So UF is a good school.
Yeah, for better or for worse, huh?
Yes. All right, so let's jump into it.
Yeah.
So we have some questions. One of the questions that I just want to know, like, what inspired you? What inspired you to choose law as your career and then specifically becoming a district attorney?
Yeah. Wow. So I think it was like the unwillingness to fulfill my destiny is how it started out. So even as like a young girl, I was the only child for both of my parents. I do have a half brother, which we'll discuss in a little bit as well. But my mom would say, you argue all the time. She was a paralegal, and she was like, you are going to be the one who's in the office, not outside of it. And I was like, it's my life. I'm going to do what I want to do. You know how we are. And then literally at UF, I was an advertising major and was about to graduate.
You started off as advertising?
And let me say, the best major, in my opinion, to go into the work I did, because all we do is sell our position to a jury. And if you don't know how to sell what you're trying to talk about, you're going to have trouble. So I was about to graduate and I was like, I don't know that this is what I want to do. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go take the LSAT. Like begrudgingly was like, I'm going to take the LSAT. Did decent and ended up getting into Emory Law School. And so that's how, so also the first private school I ever went to. Definitely different from the schools I had been to previously. But, going to law school, I still wasn't sure of what I wanted to do. My dad's retired law enforcement. My mom was a paralegal. And so people would be like, obviously, you're going to be in prosecution. But I was kind of reluctant. First summer, went to Miami-Dade Public Defender's Office. That's where I interned.
Wow.
And
And
so
that's some rough stuff coming through
was
Miami-Dade, y'all.
Yeah, it was a lot happening there. I was assigned to the jail. And so we were doing intake as part of our internship. The next summer, I did an internship at a private firm in Charleston, South Carolina. And great experience, but I was like, this is not my calling. You know, you feel it. When it's right, it's right. And then my third year, I had an externship at the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. And I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And not for what I think a lot of folks think that, you know, the traditional route of, oh, you know, the law and order and all this, that, and the other, but it was such a powerful position to be in, to be a prosecutor. We're not talking about civil law where we're talking about money. We are talking about truly impacting people's lives. And that was really profound to me. And it was a moment that connected the dots once I was there. That was 2003 that I started working at the Fulton County DA's office. And there was around that time, close in time to when I started in prosecution, there was this prosecutor out in San Francisco that was really doing things differently than the traditional model of prosecution. And she was challenging norms and she was using the system as a method. And she happened to be by the name of Kamala Harris. And so I started watching her to be like, look at what we can do. Because, you know, it's hard to imagine things that you've not seen. It's hard to, and that's in anything in life. And I was like, look at this. Look at what we could actually do to impact things. And so that really helped me shape. And let me be honest, like we deal with a lot of really, really heavy stuff in the work that we do. And so that took me through starting at Fulton County DA's office in what we call the complaint room. So my first job, I was working from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. People are like, in law? But that's what we were staffed 24/7. And you saw a lot of stuff. That was when a lot of things came through the office. So as soon as an arrest came through, and if it was a felony, it would come to us to review and charge and all these other things. And so that was the exposure. Went to the trial line, went to crimes against women and children, which was really, really tough. I went there as soon as I came back from maternity leave after having my twins. The emotions were raw. My first case, I still remember, was what we call now CSAM, child sexual exploitation material. And I had a case with live victims. We knew who the victims were. They were located. And we had dear friend of mine, Anique Whitmore, who works within our unit, who is an amazing psychotherapist. And she was there to help us with cases and all the other things. And I just remember going into her office and sobbing, watching these little girls be sexually assaulted on tape. But it also was like, this is the work, right? Yeah. This is why we are here. Everybody can't do this, but it does not mean there'll be easy days. It just means that we have to do the work. So I did that. And then I got moved to the homicide unit, which we were on call.
Some heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff, right? And so we would have a pager. We would have to go out to the murder scenes. We would co-respond with Atlanta Police Department. They would call us in. So we were there while the scenes were being processed. And during that time, I also had the opportunity to handle what was not quite labeled that yet because we didn't have the law, my first human trafficking case. And it was a very, very heavy case. It was a young lady who was being abused by a stepfather who then started selling her to other men.
Oh, man.
And, you know, it was really, really difficult. There wasn't a lot worked up, and we kind of developed it from the ground all the way up in order to eventually have a successful prosecution where he was put away for life. And that, again, became like the niche. Okay. This is what I want to do, because the reality was that oftentimes, especially in Metro Atlanta, our victims are typically young Black females. Oftentimes there's abuse in the home, or it's foster care system, or usually there's something else going on at home. And what I saw was that in presenting these cases to jurors, we had a lot of adultification of young Black girls, which we know happens across the nation, across
in some of our communities.
Every community. Yeah. It's like well studied. Georgetown did an amazing study on this. Like, it is well documented that regardless of who the observer is how much we project adultification, sexualization on young Black females. And so being able to stand in that gap to still try to protect them was very, very important to me. Because I would look at them, I'm like, this is like my daughter. Like, this is a baby. And so that became a really big passion for me to get into that work. I got to be honest, I had to be educated. I had survivors that were like, yo, this is what really happens, because we have a lot of assumptions. And so was really blessed to be educated by some extremely courageous, remarkable women who had survived trafficking, service providers, all these different individuals to give me that information. And then went to DeKalb DA's office and asked to start my own human trafficking unit, and was told, if you do that, if you create enough cases, we will let you start your own unit. And from there, I was like, cool, challenge accepted. Partner with the DeKalb Police Department and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and we started training all of DKPD at their in-service, which is like similar to like doctors. You have to get continuing education. So do attorneys, and so do law enforcement. And so we would show up at those trainings. We teach them about human trafficking, and honey, those cases started rolling in. We went from 2 cases to over 100 within a year, simply because we started talking about it. And that's how like I kind of developed this expertise. I would say it's not really an expertise. It was like not a lot of people were willing to do it. Like, these girls show up, and a lot of people have a hard time seeing through the rough exterior to like what has actually happened. And so that's where I wanted to do the work. But along that same time, circling back to it, don't ever ask an attorney an open-ended question. We will go on and on and on. But it was probably 2010 that I saw, we had moved to Douglas County by that time. My husband and I and our 3 children. And the work that I believe prosecutors should be doing to serve our communities, I did not necessarily believe was being reflected in what was going on here. And so in 2010, I said, I want to run for this position. And my boss at the time said, if you do, I will fire you. So I was like, well, I got 3 babies. My husband's an educator. Yeah. I was like, we need our income. We have to eat. Lifestyle. 100%. And that lifestyle involves a roof, and food, and like all the things that we needed. And so fast forward to 4 years after that, I got set up, got ready to run again. We ran the race. We lost by 1% of the vote. And so fast forward to another 4 years, 2018, I was like, I'm running. And at that point, the person who had beat me by 1% was appointed to the bench. And they created a law at the Georgia legislature that said, if there's a vacancy in the DA's position, the governor gets to appoint the person for a 2-year term. So the governor then appointed my opponent for a 2-year term, which pushed us to 2020. And I qualified again because I was like, this still is on my heart. Yes. And so 2020, I did not have an opponent, and I became the elected DA and just ran 2024, also unopposed. And so now I have re-election 2028. And we're going to win again, right? Amen. Yes. If it's God's will. If it's God's will. That's what I always say, because the big thing was in this decision to run, it was never me. It was never like, oh, I have this political ambition, or, oh, I want to run my own office. It was never that. It was just this thing in the core to say, we have to do better, and who but you? If nobody else is going to step up, who but you? And you have to answer to your calling. 100%. So when you die and we open those books, and he says, I called you to do this, and I called you to be a steward over this, and you didn't listen to my voice. Absolutely. So you were listening. I'm listening. And sometimes we got to sit down and have conversations, because I'm like, Lord, this is a lot that you have asked of me, and I need to know that you are still by me. And he has always answered in the affirmative. And so I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. Amen. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So moving on to our next question. I'll try to have a shorter answer for the next one. We'll see. Fine. I love the long answer, didn't y'all? Yeah. I love it. All of the experience. We never know
how God is leading us. We think, you know, sometimes you're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he puts someone and he's like, no, I need you to do this first. I need you to gather these cases.
Yes.
I need you to feel this way. So when I release you into the world and my light shines within you, I need you to have that compassion.
Can I say this? That is so profound, because my big mantra is having faith in the failures.
Yes.
And all those 10 years that I was unsuccessful, God had me prepped to develop expertise in new areas, to lead, to collaborate, to gather community. And I'm like, but for him saying not yet, I would have been woefully unprepared to fulfill the role that he had for me. And so, like, looking back, despite how devastating it felt at the time, I'm like, yeah, obviously this was all part of the plan. And I'm so grateful for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge? You kind of gave us some of this in your previous answer. What was the biggest challenge you faced as an African-American woman in this field? Yeah. So before you came, I did my homework. I was like, okay, me and Z, we were on the computer Googling how many, the percentage, you know, I think it was like around 73% of DAs were Caucasian, white males. And then I think about 13% of Latina, and then the remainder of the percent were African Americans. Was it 5.6% females or just total? Total.
1%. 1% for females. African American.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So we stopped at the 5,
and we know each other.
Low.
Let me be clear. No.
Of course, every podiatrist that looks like me, I have their phone number. I'm like, hey girl.
What is the percentage in podiatry?
You know,
curious.
I've never Googled it, but I just know I've walked into several white spaces where I'm literally the only black face. And I am like the center of attention. Not only am I a black face or a brown face, I'm a female. And then add looking good on top of that. So you're really
say that.
You're really, so I'm sure the percentage is quite small.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so we Googled it and we were like, man, so you're pretty pretty awesome. You are. So what has been your biggest challenge as not just the African American female, because I'm sure, you know, Latina and white females are watching this, just as a woman in your position?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a male dominated space, like you said, for sure. And I came into it with I've always had my 3 pillars. We kind of talked about kind of how the career trajectory, but coming into the space, whether I was a line prosecutor, led a team, or now have my own office and serving as the DA, there's always been the 3 pillars that have gotten me. The first one is to advocate based off of my own victimization as a child, feeling like I had no voice, to ensure that when people come to us, that they are heard. We can't guarantee outcomes, but what we can guarantee is that they are heard in the space of our office. Secondly, innovate. So I mentioned my half brother earlier. From the time that I was about 16 until he passed away a couple years ago, he struggled with his addiction. And he was in and out of carceral systems, jails, prison, whatever it was. He was constantly in and out. And it was the very definition of insanity, right? Like, you're doing the same thing, expecting different results. And recognizing that we are a touch point for so many people that are in trauma, that are in addiction, that are in these spaces, and understanding that oftentimes, you know, having done this work for over 20 years, the actual percentage of people who are truly dangerous is a very small percentage that come through our criminal justice system. And we're really, really good at dealing with those issues. But most people who come through our criminal justice system, the crime is symptomatic of something else that has not been handled. And so how do we innovate to figure out ways that we can deal with those individuals, to get them healed and out of the criminal justice system, to get them to be productive citizens? And then the last part of being the first woman, being the first non-white to serve in this role in Douglas County, raising 3 Black children in a system that I am absolutely terrified of.
Yes.
To show what can it look like if we are equitable? What can it look like if we are intentional about how we treat our community, about what we are doing, about our charging decisions? And so with all of those coming into this space, that I was considered a quote unquote outsider, despite having lived here for 18 years.
Despite how well educated you are, despite how many classes qualified,
despite vouching from other law enforcement all across the state, I came in and I was given oftentimes the presumption of unqualified, incompetent, doesn't know what they're doing, all of these things. And that was a lot of the rhetoric that came around my administration. And so that was the tone that was set. And so there was some of that, like when you talk about the challenges, to a certain extent, it was like when I came in there, it was like, I'll show them, I'll prove them all wrong. And then it was like, you are who you are. Just be you. Just exist. Do your thing, because you have been ordained and prepared for this moment. And you don't have to do anything else. And I think that was a big challenge of just being like, yo, like he gave you what you need to serve in this role, serve and keep it at that. Now, I'm human. And so there are things, really, really ugly things that are said, really, really ugly things that have been done because of who I am and the position I serve in. But that's the time where I go to him and I'm like I said earlier, you sure that's what you wanted me to do? And I feel that comfort. I have the support system. I have the people I can talk to that really, really has been a difference maker in being able to serve and to really serve in a way that I think is not just something that I think is the way it should be done, but something that I feel has been destined and given to me as an example.
And nobody can change that. I think we forget that when God says that he prepares a table in front of our enemies, if you have nothing to prepare, like how can he prepare a table in front of them? The table is laid out. So we have to go with the expectation that there are going to be people, because he prepares a table in front of our enemies. And I think a lot of us forget that. Like he's preparing you for that.
Yeah.
And
sure, that's so profound. Yes.
I try to give the people what the people want.
I'm telling you. I'll write that on a post-it note at work. I'm gonna write that. You need the reminder.
Yes. Like if you have no table, then what are you doing?
Right. Or no enemies.
No enemies. Then something's not right. Like I welcome it. And I feel like as a woman, like in business, as a woman, like I'm like vice president. I mean, I'm president of our caucus for American Podiatric Medical Society.
Love that. Yes. You better leadership. Yes. Absolutely.
Shout out. So every year we vote. I'm a delegate and I'm the president of the caucus. And it's just like, I have to go. I think sometimes we put so much on us because we go in ready to fight, and it wears us out. Yes. It's like, because you're thinking, well, if I don't write this email right, they're going to think I'm this way. If I don't say this right, they're going to think I'm this way. I'm not. No, people that have that in their soul, they're never going to think you're good enough. And those are not the minds I'm changing.
Correct.
I'm here to change minds and souls that God assigned me to.
Yeah, but the battle fatigue is real.
It is.
It is very, very real. And that's where the self-care comes in.
Yes.
Of having to distance yourself from those things to ensure that you're okay. Because if you're not okay, you can't do the work. Yes. Right? So that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, you have to hype yourself up.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Can you share a moment in your career when you felt most proud of the work you were doing?
There's a lot of moments that I have felt proud, but it has never been from anything I've done. And I say that to say, because there have been so many individuals that I've interacted with that have gone on after going through the most horrific, awful things, that have gone on to thrive, that have gone on to do amazing, beautiful things in this world. And when I look at them, that's what makes me the most proud, because of their strength, their resilience, which it's a very loaded word, because it's like, why do we have to keep being resilient? But the resilience and just the like tenacity and just willing the better life, because they're dealt these cards that they should not have any of the great things that they have accumulated. And that's what makes me the most proud, because I feel that there's a part of the process that hands off to those victims the baton to do the work of healing. I say it all the time in my statements when we're talking about cases. The healing work is so hard. But I'm hopeful that part of that healing can come from them having voice. Again, regardless of outcomes. We cannot tell a jury what to do. We don't know what a jury will do. But regardless of outcomes, to step before us, to be heard, to be believed, to be supported, to be advocated for, that gives them a little something on that journey to healing. And that super difficult work they have to do, that's what makes me the most proud, is that they do become successful on the other end. Yeah.
All right. How did mentorship or lack of shape your path?
Yes. Yeah, so I told you that when I tried to first run, my boss at the time said, don't, I will fire you. I have had people, when I say I want to do this, say, well, don't you want to be a judge? Doesn't that feel like better for you, like a better role? And I'm like, I don't think you heard what I said. This is what I feel called to do. But what I have to say is that I have the most amazing support network. Talked about the 1%. In 2020, my election year, we had a remarkable transition in Metro Atlanta to who was serving in this role. And we saw the most number of non-white and female DAs come into office. Wow. And most of us are now into our second term. But coming as part of that class was huge because everybody was kind of like, oh, okay, like we made it, now what? And to lean into each other. And I have to give a shout out to Sherry Boston, who is the DeKalb County District Attorney, who was a tremendous mentor to me. Yes, she's phenomenal.
Go, Sherry!
Tremendous role model, mentor, all the things in doing the work, in being an example. And again, I'm human. There are days this job mollywops you. Like it has you just like on your knees praying like, Lord, what am I supposed to do? And having somebody who is tangible, who is reachable, who I can reach out and connect with to say, it's okay. Like, this is fine. You're going to be okay. Or, hey, this is what you should do. It's been tremendous. I don't know what I would have done without her. And then the network, like to be able to call people like Kim Fox, who is a revolutionary in this space, to call her a dear friend, to call like all the women across the country who are doing this work in remarkable, bold ways, and to be able to talk to them, touch them, like to speak to them, that they are reachable. Like, I don't know how I would survive and do this work without that network of mentors.
Which is very important because I feel like even my friends, like my little podiatry group and my friends that I've grown with, like to have women, especially women, you know, to want more for you and to make you feel like you're the baddest, the smartest, the most resilient. Yeah. That is so important. And I've been very, what is the word? Picky about who takes that space, especially in my 40s. Yeah. Like I want you to be so excited about the work that I'm doing and the businesses that I'm running and the way I love my husband and the way that I raise my children.
Say that.
And I'm going to be just as excited about yours. Yes. So just mentorship and friendship.
Yes. Yes. Sisterhood.
Sisterhood.
It is a sisterhood. Yeah,
it's so important. Like sometimes I have to stop my friend. She'd be like, "You bad." I'm like, "No, you bad." Yes. She'd be like, "You bad." Yeah. I'm like, "You the baddest."
We need that.
You need that.
You need that because how much time does the world spend telling us different? Right. Especially now. And so to have that echo chamber, to have that support is so critical. It's so critical to get you to disbelieve what society is constantly telling us.
Yes.
So yeah, keep it up.
Yes.
Because you the baddest.
No, you the baddest. And even when I little girls, I have to speak that life into them because we are. I mean, I just read online that 70-something% of graduate degrees are obtained by Black women.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is like that makes me just feel all bubbly inside.
Yeah.
Like we are really doing, and society, I think that's why the world has evolved because now they're noticing, wait, something's shifting. They have more than what I have. And now the table's turning and all the hate comments and the pulling you down and the dragging you. I literally was at a conference and I think sometimes we seek approval from them. And we don't need it.
Yeah.
We do not need it.
Right. The validation is in our existence.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Period. And to that point, what I am so excited about, because you have daughters, I have a daughter, man, for them to watch. And it's very interesting because, you know, I have a lot of, mine are older. My kids are older than yours. And we have tough conversations about things. And when she talks to it, she responds, I'm like, man, they ain't ready. They ain't ready. She better come I love that. I love that for us. I love that for our girls, all of our children, our next generation coming up. Like, they ain't ready.
I think it's the way we raise them, right? Like, I think it's, you know, and it's not beating down our parents, because our parents worked with what they could work with.
Did the best they
did the best they
what
could.
they had.
So you come from this harsh generation where they're unlearning generational curses, and their toxicity is like all over. You can smell it, walk it, you can see it in the way they interact, and then boom, here comes us, our generation, and we're stopping generational curses. So I tell people, like, I don't spank my children, they get popped or they get punished. And the reason is because I felt like growing up, and this is not to like, I love my mother, she's a great woman, but it stopped me from speaking up and out. It's like a slavery. Like, I'm gonna beat you when you're too young to be in adult conversations. Get out of the way, be seen and not heard. Whereas our generation is, I want to hear why you're upset. Right? I want you to own the room. I'm not going to, you know, be quiet. You know, like our parents. I want you to be loud and bold. And our kids are now catching up because they don't have that fear in big rooms. They're the light.
Absolutely, and they're bold.
Yes,
I love that. I love that.
That is awesome. So we're 2 minutes past. So I'm sorry, y'all. We got lost in the sauce. We did. Is there any like pertinent questions or anything anybody has? What are the people saying?
Put them in the chat. Y'all have any questions? Someone said, "We see you, Dr. Watson, brains and beauty."
Come on.
Say that.
There you go. Hyping each other up. Okay, so
someone said, "I'm loving this." Yes, we are.
They are tuning in. So we would like to thank you so much for being part of our chat. We're gonna let you finish your pedicure in peace.
I would like to reaffirm she's doing an amazing job. I know y'all can't see because I was part of the agreement, but she's doing an amazing. Come stop by. Period.
Make your appointment. Come. So our address, if you want to make an appointment with Marika, is 6554 Spring Street. You can book. There's a link in our bio on the TikTok and Instagram platform, so you can book her and have your time in the spa, or call if you're if you need help with booking an appointment. Please call and book an appointment. And I am still a foot and ankle surgeon, so
and a great one, and a phenomenal one.
Thank you. Phone number is 404-217-2700. So while y'all out in these streets today, I need you to love each other. Pray for each other. And just hug each other. We're in a dark, dark time. And get your lives together because Jesus is coming back. Christ is King.
Hello.
All right, thank you for tuning in. As my husband tries to figure out.
Thanks, Doreen.
All right.
See? Rub it down and put on. Thank